My top 10 predictions for the 2023 New York Pro plus physique updates in the Open Men's Bodybuilding, plus I also cover the 212 and the Classic Physique as well. Hope you guys enjoy it. What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back with another video previewing the 2023 New York Pro. And as you can see on the screen right now, there is the Open Men's Bodybuilding competitor list. And I'm going to give you my 10th all the way up to first positions in terms of placing. So let's get straight into it. And in 10th place, I have Marius Tomzuk. So this guy, I believe, competed as a pro in the IFB Pro League for the first time last year. And as you can see, he's got a pretty damn aesthetic, good physique overall. He seems to bring the conditioning to the stage. This was at the Toronto Pro, I believe, last year. Guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Side chest looks crazy impressive. His hammy drop is really nice and detailed as well. I just think overall he needs more muscle. I love his hands together, most muscular, but overall, for this guy to do better, he just needs a little bit more size overall. And hopefully in the past 12 months, he's been able to achieve that. In 9th place, I have Nate Spear. Now, I feel like the guys 9th to 6th are probably going to feel a little bit slighted in these predictions because Nate is always improving, looking really, really good in these recent physique updates. And I think he's going to make an impression here, but I think he's going to be battling it out for that sort of 5th to 9th spot, in my opinion. But he can push a little bit higher. He might actually even compare really well to an Eric Wood. So I've got Eric Wood right up there in my predictions. But Nate Spear could compare very well with him. So it's a tough one. This lineup is very, very hard to predict. But I think Nate Spear, he's got a lot of thickness. As Ian Valier said in a recent podcast, he's a lot more impressive in person. So I'll take him on his word on that. And I mean, Nate's still impressive in pictures as well. So if he's more impressive in person, then I think Nate Spear can surprise a lot of people here and push up, hopefully for him, into that top 5. In 8th place, I have Joe Seeman. Now, this one's tough. I've been big on Joe Seeman from his pro debut, where I believe he turned pro the day prior. Then he went into the, I believe it was the Toronto Pro Show, I might be wrong on that, and he placed 4th place. And I was super impressed. He went under the radar then, and he's continued to sort of go under the radar a little bit because he sort of missed his peak a little bit at a few shows. His conditioning tends to always be pretty damn good, but there's always a little issue in terms of his peaking, which also Ian Valier mentioned on a recent podcast too. But these recent physique updates are looking pretty damn good. I believe these were 5 days out of the New York Pro, and the conditioning has really come in pretty nice, I'd say late. You know, obviously guys, everyone's body's different, everyone peaks differently, but he's come in pretty nice in the hamstrings in terms of conditioning. Will it be enough in this lineup? I'm not sure. In terms of his flow and his structure, he's not as pretty as some of these other guys, but he has a lot of muscle on his frame. So if he brings that conditioning to the stage and comes in super full, polishes there, you know, tan, conditioning, the amount of muscle and fullness. If he can do all of that, I believe he's working with Justin Harris as well. I think that he can actually surprise people in this lineup and place a lot higher than I'm predicting him. In 7th place, I have Brent Swansen. Now, some of his physique updates make him not look like the biggest dude, but he is a big guy, comes in super gnarly. Where he falls down a little bit is his shape and his structure, but he makes up for it in some freaky muscles. So Brent Swansen, a phenomenal back, as you can see by this rear lat spread. Conditioning is always outrageous, and I think he can surprise some people here. I believe it was in his pro debut season he placed as high as 5th. So I think that, you know, he can shock some people, and if he comes in at his all-time best, he can definitely be up in that top 5 once again, battling maybe even for a top 3 in this lineup. Now I have Maxx Charles in 6th place. Max is a guy that if he brings his all-time best, like when he's working with Mil Sarchev, when he did that Arnold Classic, where some people believe, including myself, he should have placed higher. And I think he's about 6th place then, from memory, maybe 7th, I can't quite remember exactly right now. Or maybe I was thinking he should have been in 6th, I can't quite remember. But where he falls down is his back and his leg size. But everything else is super freaky and super impressive. You can see him here standing next to Justin Rodriguez in a back double bicep. Now that's a little unfair because Justin Rodriguez has one of the best back double biceps going around, but you can see where he falls down in terms of the back. He's got a lot of thickness up the top part of his back, but not the same width, and just the lower back just isn't there quite as much. But Maxx Charles on his day, if he's really conditioned, comes in really full. If the legs are looking pretty good as well, because Milos seemed to be able to bring them up a little bit. We know Milos, correct hyperemia protocol. I mean, I would just lay them away and just blast the fuck out of their legs. And we know it seems like Milos has actually been able to bring some guys' legs up. So hopefully he follows those same sort of hyperemia protocols, and Maxx Charles can place up there. But I have him in 6th place in this lineup. In 5th place, I have Josef Kveton. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, dude, but this guy is tall. Recently made his pro debut, I believe it was, in Brazil. Looked really, really good. Placed 4th place as well. So placing 5th here, he'd be hoping for better for sure. And he looks fantastic in these 17-day out pictures. So I think that Josef can make an impact here. How will he look standing next to these other guys? I don't know. It's really, really hard to say, but he impressed some people. He beat Vitor Both, who was a Mr. Olympia competitor last year at that Brazil show. Vitor wasn't quite at his best conditioning-wise. He missed the peak a little bit there. Another one of Milos's guys as well. And I don't think he missed his peak because of Milos, obviously, but first time working together, I think, with Milosachev, but he came in really full. But I think Josef, he's very impressive, and I think in a few years, he's actually really young as well. I believe he's in his mid to late 20s. I think actually more like his mid 20s. Very, very impressive. So I think Josef is going to be moving up the pro ranks over the next couple of years, and here he can potentially definitely place a top 5, and I've got him placing in 5th. In 4th, I have Eric Wood, a Patrick Tour client. I've actually got an interview up right now with Eric Wood. I'll put the link in the description to this video. And you can see the conditioning is absolutely outrageous. These updates, the back ones from 10 days out, the other ones from I think a few days after that. The conditioning is outrageous. If he's able to fill up and come in nice and full here in his pro debut at a very young age, I believe of around, I'm trying to think of how old he is now, 27 or so, I think he can do very, very well. He's got a nice aesthetic physique, and I think he's only going to look more aesthetic as he adds more muscle, because it seems like, from his transformation from last year, you can see he's just put on size, especially on the legs. The lats coming out more. He's got more of an X frame. So I think Eric Wood can do very well, and I've got him in the top 4 here in his pro debut, and that's what he's aiming for. He's aiming for a first call out, and I think it's very possible at this show. Now in 3rd, I've got Robin Strand. Now Robin Strand is a guy that I didn't expect this from. These recent shots, especially of his back, are looking absolutely outrageous. The hamstrings are dialed in, the glutes are there, the back looks complete, got nice peaky biceps as well. So that back double looks damn impressive. And I don't believe he's a short bodybuilder either. So I'm really happy to see Robin Strand sort of starting to really realize his potential. And I think he's going to do very, very well here in the New York Pro. Predicting him top 3, but he could really range anywhere from like 2nd. I don't know if he can beat someone in this lineup, but anywhere from 2nd, he could be from there down to 10th. I really don't know where Robin Strand lands, but I think it's definitely an improved package, and he's moving in the right direction. In 2nd is another man I recently had on the channel, and a lot of you guys are requesting him to be on Bodybuilding University as a bit of a permanent fixture after that interview, and got a ton of positive comments. It was super real, raw, and honest, and he spoke about why he has those marks on the side of his leg as well, which is, a really good conversation, a really beneficial one. So make sure you guys tune into that one. I'll put the link to that in the description below as well. But Stuart Sutherland, or as he's known on Instagram as Beef Stew, is looking awesome. Like, he's a really complete bodybuilder, and he's taller than you guys think as well. I think he's around 5'8", weighing over 250 pounds. This isn't his pro debut. He competed last year after receiving his pro card. Sort of to test the waters, missed his peak a bit, but he's looking dramatically better here. The conditioning's there, the fullness is there as well. He's got naturally full-looking muscles, in my opinion. And if he fills this out even more and comes in that a little bit dry, I mean, he doesn't really need it. He's pretty conditioned. But look at that ab and thigh. Look at the most muscular. They're absolutely outrageous. And I think this is going to be a very impressive contest for Stuart Sutherland. But he's up against someone insanely impressive, and a guy that, this is a bold prediction I'm making. I believe Tonio Burton will be top 10 in the Mr. Olympia in 2023. Now, he's not even qualified as yet, but check out this dude's conditioning. I mean, he's got some freaky muscle that only comes around from time to time, and that back is looking wild. And then you see the shots from the front now. He looks like Dexter Jackson. He is the second coming of Dexter Jackson, seriously. He's around the same height. He's got the same sort of looking midsection. He's got the same round muscle bellies. but he can maybe even be more of a freak in the future, which sounds wild, but Tonio Burton is the future in bodybuilding. I think he's going to be phenomenal for years to come, and I have him winning his 2023 New York Pro. Apparently, I was part of a reason to convince him to do this show because I was on him about it. I was mentioning it in my videos, and if that was the difference, if that was the thing that pushed him over the edge to do this, then I am extremely happy, and I'm sorry to Stuart Sutherland and the other guys in this lineup, but Tonio is looking wild, and it's not a foregone conclusion he wins this, but he's my winner for this contest in my predictions. Now, I'll give you guys a quick overview of the 212. There is the competitors list. I didn't know too many of the guys coming into this lineup initially, but now we have that competitors list. I want to give a shout out as well to Nate Tello, who's looking really, really good. Owner of, I believe it's, Gym Hub, I believe it is, out there in Boston. So check out his gym. He's a legend of a guy. Super nice guy, entrepreneurial, and I'll definitely try to get him on the channel again soon. And also as well, Mark Lobline. I'm actually meant to do a bodybuilding trivia of those two guys. I've had a lot going on lately, so I will get them on to do that. We've been talking smack, friendly back and forth prior to this one, but looking forward to seeing both of those guys compete. But let's get to my predictions. And in third place, let me pull up his name. It's Sung Yip Zhang. I have him placing third, a Milosachev athlete. And it could be seen as almost disrespectful putting this guy in third because he has a ton of muscle. He's made outrageous improvements. Very round, huge quads, just a pleasing, shorter physique that I think a lot of people would like. But Milos might think I'm disrespecting him. I mean, Xavier, why don't you put my guy in, top two at least? I mean, come on. You look at the muscle bellies. I mean, it's probably a great disrespect in my opinion. But the hyperemia protocols obviously work on this guy, and he's going to come in full dry. I mean, you'll see. That's what Milos might say. But yeah, I have this guy in third. It's basically conditioning for me. I don't think the conditioning is there. And maybe even a guy like Nate Tello, who's looking super sharp, can beat out a guy like this. But it will remain to be seen, and Milos might drive this guy out, and I might be eating my words. And hopefully I am in a couple of days' time. Now, in second place, I have Noel Adame. I had no idea this guy was doing this show. He has very little in terms of physique updates on his page. This is the latest one that I saw up, and he's looking huge. And he's looking hard, and this was about 3 weeks out. So I say he's going to be ready, unless this is an old photo. But a pretty balanced physique. Not the tiniest waist, but on some shots it looks really small. Round muscle bellies, always in condition. He is going to be a contender for this show, and he can definitely win it. I'm going as far as to say that he can win this show, no doubt. And in first place, I have Kerrith Bajjo. Kerrith is hard. He's looking ridiculous. He's only improving on his physique. Out there working with Justin Miller out of Bev Francis' gym. I think he's going to probably bring his all-time best or something close to it. I can't remember what he placed in the Olympia last year, but it was getting right up there. So Kerrith has made huge improvements. He's sort of exceeded my expectations of where he can go, and he's got a lot of freakiness to that physique too, without, being a guy that doesn't have shape. He has shape. He has a small waist and, just really brings it overall. So he's got a lot of gnarliness to his physique, and I think that he will win this show, in my opinion, just based on freak factor. I think he's only really maybe a 5-spot higher guy at the Olympia level, maybe even less if Noel Adame and he brings his best. So it's still reasonably close. And if Kerrith is maybe a little flat or something, which I just can't see happening, or maybe Noel's legs look too big for Kerrith, I don't know, but I just think Kerrith Bajjo wins this show, in my opinion, but it is definitely not a foregone conclusion there as well. Now, in the Classic Physique, we've got two guys that really stick out to me, but I'm sure there's a ton of names I'm missing because there are so many divisions to cover now. I see Camilo Diaz in there, I see a whole ton of guys. Callum Hinds as well, who's been on the channel. Outrageous physique. Absolutely love Callum's physique, and I'll definitely get him back on here as well because a lot of you guys liked having him on. But Zeke Andrews sticks out. He's won this show before, I believe, in the Classic Physique. Really, really good bodybuilder. And also, obviously, the man that won last week in Michael Daboul. I'm predicting Michael Daboul to win this. He looked outrageous last week. Just absolutely outrageous. I thought he should have won with straight first, in my opinion. But obviously, that leaves a little bit of a door open that he isn't, a complete runaway last week. If he won with straight first last week, I'd say probably he's going to win this easily, but I'm not 100% aware of all the names in this lineup. And I also want to mention as well, Matthew Grego making his Classic Physique debut. He's competed in the men's physique before. I think it was a great move. He works with Chris, the technician, Aceto, and yeah, he's looking fantastic. So I cannot wait to see him up there, and he might really shake things up in this lineup as well. So anyway, guys, let me know your predictions, your top 5s, your top 3s, who you just think will win each division at this contest in the comments below. And make sure as well you give this video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button, because I'm going to be going live for the 2023 New York Pro this weekend. There is a live stream. I'll put the link to that in the description below, but follow along live, guys. And also I'll have post-show videos and all that good stuff, so make sure you tune in. So that's it for this one, guys. I'm Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.